if we can just turn back the clock to last season quickly, do you find yourself shaking your head thinking, what is this? We just missed out on district playoffs. Does it keep you up at night?
A little bit. I think it's been probably, 3 of the last 4 years that we've kind of been in that situation, and we got in obviously 2 years ago. But I think what helps me sleep is that I know we played our best football week 7, 8, 9, 9, and 10. Those last 3 weeks were the best football we played all year. And as a coach, that's what you want to see. You want to see your team develop from week 1 to week 10, where you're getting better and that you're doing all that stuff. But I think what looking back on it is that we got to do a better job in September in the middle of the season. We had really 2 games that were really close, that were probably one score, or they were both one score, but a couple plays here or there. We make a play versus them making a play, and it turned out that guard spot made one more play than we did in that game, and Kakalka made one more play than we did in that game, and that quickly things can change, and I think that the message becomes really easy to the kids. Like, we only get 10 opportunities, and if you let one slip by, you don't know when it's going to be or what's going to happen. That one game that you don't bring your best can keep you out of the district playoffs. Like, our margin for error is so small so that we could not overcome those things, and it was disappointing. Obviously, because I said we were playing so well at the end of the season, I wanted to see what we could have done in district playoffs. But we didn't do we didn't do what we needed to do early on in the season, take care of business. So it was frustrating, disappointing, but I think to send those seniors off last year in the way that we did in that Governor Mifflin game, I don't know if you could have wrote a better ending to the season, because after that everyone's season ends with a loss except 4 teams or 6 teams or the state champions. So disappointing, but Warwick deserved to be there. They won the games that they had to win and to do that, and they beat us out for that spot, and I congratulated Bob afterwards for that. I have nothing but respect for them and the program. Wish it was us, but it's not the way the math fell for us last year, and we got to do better this year.
Hopefully we'll get a chance after the Warwick back on the schedule again, and then you can
we would love to see that happen, and I've talked to Bob about that too. We want to make sure that that's a priority, whether we end up in the same section in the next cycle or as a non-league or however that's going to fall. But whatever's in our control, if we can control getting each other on the schedule, we both want to do that. I think it's both great for both of our communities.
Well, I know getting set up here, hard to believe this is your 10th season. I know a coach is never completely satisfied, but do you feel that you have the program in place when you came in as to where you wanted it to be after a 5 or 10 year plan?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I don't know if I had more than a 4-year plan when I started, but now when you're looking back at year 10, the work's never done. As you said, being satisfied, I don't know. I think looking back, there's some stuff that I wish I would have done differently, but looking to see that, over the past 8 years that we've had, we've never been below 500 in that stretch. I think that's the longest in school history. I think that's something to be proud of. I think you look at the numbers in our program from D team all the way up to high school football. We have a strong base of kids coming up through. And a lot of that stuff was started before I got there. Scott Shelley and the Ephrata Gridiron Club, they did a great job of putting the emphasis before I got there on what can we do with our youth football program and how can we rebuild that. And without them putting that work and that effort and the money and the resource and all that time they put in and putting coaches in place at the youth level that were focused on the fundamentals, I think that's been really helped us kind of get things going. And I think I'm proud of where we're at. I really like our kids. I think we have really great quality kids year in and year out, and that's what makes it fun coaching. The Lord blessed me with 2 great daughters, and I have a whole bunch of sons each and every year that I get to coach and develop, and it's everything that I've dreamed of. And I said it back then when we first interviewed, I think 10 years ago, that this was my dream job. This is where I wanted to be when I had the chance to be there and see what the war was like as a visiting coach. And I knew that if we could ever start having some success, it's going to be a special place. And it's exceeded my expectations, and I couldn't be happier. And I certainly don't want to go anywhere anytime soon. So it's been a blast looking back on it.